In this video, we'll be taking a look at 7 times cops got owned and humiliated. So without any further delay, let's get right into it. 1. This guy was pulled over by the cops for going too slow. They approached his vehicle and asked him to roll down the window, which he refused.
What for? What for?
He asked them why he was stopped, but they didn't hear him. That's why he was reaching for some papers. He was looking at them, which is why one of the cops got a little impatient and knocked at his window a few times. The man then showed them the paper through the glass, and while one of them leaned over to look at what it said, the other one was having none of it, and he kept knocking on the guy's door. After he got no response, he just opened the guy's door furiously, which caused the paper to fall. The guy in the car was shocked by this and said that the cop didn't have the permission to do that.
Sir, you do not have permission to open my door. Well, you wouldn't roll the window down. I don't have to.
When the cop explained that he did that because the guy didn't want to roll down the window, the guy said that he didn't have to do that either, and he cited Florida law that confirmed it. The cop kept asking for the license, but the guy still wouldn't give it to him because he didn't do anything and the cops made everything up. 2. Here we have a prime example of a bully cop. He kept violating this man's rights and thought he could get away with it. First, he said that he had a reasonable suspicion that the man was soliciting, but the man disagreed with that. When the guy threatened to file a lawsuit, the cop did what cops usually do when people stand up for their rights, and that's trying to turn things around. In this case, by saying that the guy was trying to intimidate him.
You're trying to intimidate me. I'm not intimidating you. Yeah, you are. You're trying to intimidate me.
After the guy once again explained that he wasn't soliciting, the cop gave up and said that the guy wasn't worth the trouble. 3. The cops pull over a car, but it's not the driver that is at the center of attention. It's the passenger who knows his rights and refuses to show his ID, even when the cops threaten him to take him to the station and run his fingerprints. One of the cops accuses the passenger of not having a seatbelt on, which the guy says isn't true. He's still refusing to give them his ID because he didn't do anything wrong.
If I did, I'm not giving you any, even if I did. Huh? I said I'm not giving it to you even if I did. You have no
It looks like this is just an excuse to get this man to give them his ID. When he refuses to do so, the cops are taken aback and they ask him to step out of the vehicle. He does that immediately and keeps filming the whole encounter. At one moment, he pleads the 5th. He's infuriated at this point and threatens to sue the cop personally.
So I don't understand what the whole point of you pulling me and asking me for ID. You're not even allowed to do that. Ask me for ID.
The video cuts at the end and we don't know what happened, but this video serves as a great lesson on knowing your rights. 4. You can see a cop just casually walking into a guy's yard. We learn throughout the encounter that this is not the first time the police did that. The guy says that the cops were coming into his yard without a warrant multiple times and that they were bullying him. To that, the cop, acting all innocent, asks the guy if he ever bullied him.
Coming.
Have I bullied you?
Have
I ever bullied you?
The guy keeps his cool and tells the cop that it doesn't matter if he personally didn't do it, and that he has a problem about cops in general just walking into his yard without a warrant. The cop is forced to leave in the end. 5. Here we have a cop just storming into the bus and acting like a prime example of a bully. But little did he know that he was going to be shut down and owned by a citizen who knows his rights. Anyway, the cop asks one of the passengers to leave the bus.
He's going to tell you to get off the bus. If you don't get off the bus, I'm going to take you off.
When the guy refuses, he asks him for his bus ticket, which the guy provides. But even before the guy was able to give the pass, the cop, acting arrogant, says that he's the one asking questions now. Oh wow, talk about having an attitude. Anyway, after giving the rude cop his pass, he asks another officer for his badge number. Then we get to hear what really happened. It turns out that the guy didn't show his pass to the driver. The bully cop continues to be, well, a bully. And it's still talking to the guy like he is the worst kind of criminal. He asks for his ID, but the guy refuses because he didn't commit any crime. After some more arguing, the cops had no other choice but to leave the bus. 6. A state trooper pulled over a guy for speeding. Throughout the entire encounter, he was trying to make this guy look guilty and get him to confess with seemingly innocent questions. But this guy knew better than to allow him to do that. But first things first. As soon as the state trooper approached the vehicle, they had a confrontation about rolling the window down.
Roll it down more. But why? So I can talk to you better, man. I'm not gonna talk to you through a crack like this.
It was rolled just enough for them to talk normally and hear each other, and yet the state trooper insisted that the guy rolled the window all the way down. The guy obviously didn't want to do that because no law requires him to do so. This was just the first of many proofs that this guy knows his way around law. The state trooper, still being relatively nice about it, tried to get this man to confess that he was speeding. The guy told him that's simply not true, and that his dash cam actually shows that he was within the speed limit.
I got this dash cam here.
Yeah.
And it records my speed.
Okay.
The trooper didn't expect that at all, and then accused the guy of having an attitude. Throughout the rest of the video, he was telling the guy that it was just speeding, and that it wasn't a big deal. Yeah, nice try. The guy saw right through that and he stood his ground. In the end, the trooper had no choice but to leave the guy alone. 7. Here we have an encounter that is a prime example of a cop being owned by a man who knows his rights, like the very definition of it. You can see that things are heated right from the get-go. Just look at that cop's attitude and how he asked the man to roll down his window and give him his ID. You can just feel the anger in his voice.
Right? Proof of speeding.
Okay, sir, go ahead and step on out of the vehicle.
It's a good thing that the guy was filming the encounter, or who knows what this cop would do. Anyway, we soon learn that the cop pulled this guy over because he was speeding, but the guy straight up tells him that he's lying and that he even has a dash cam to prove that he wasn't speeding. The cop doesn't want to hear any of it, and when the guy tells him to show him the proof that he's speeding, he chooses to ignore it. That angered the guy so much that he starts calling the cop names and completely humiliates him. The cop, along with other cops who came to the scene, didn't know what to do anymore, so they chose to legally detain the guy despite them not having any proof. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to our channel for notifications on so you don't miss anything. See you next time.